What does he say? Tip of the tongue.
Tip of the tongue.
How now, brown cow?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Feel good about it.
Alrighty, folks.
Alrighty, Dogs.
Welcome back to the Mushing Alaska podcast. Brendan and Sean here with you. And as always, excited for another episode. We've got a great interview with Deke Naaktgeboren. I hope I said that right. I didn't actually ask him during the interview properly how to say it, but in a way I cheated. I listened to him say it in other places. I listened to other people say his name. Hopefully I gave it some justice there. What do you think, Sean?
You know, I've been going with Naaktgeboren for a while, and I feel like that's completely wrong. You could tell me how to say it like 3, 4, 5 days in a row, all day, every day, and I'd still probably butcher it. So I'm going to stick with Deke for final answer.
Hey, there we go. Deke, final answer. Well, brother, how you been, man? I've been noticing lately on your social media, you've been doing the whole ice skating, like wild ice skating. Is that what you call it? Where you're like on a frozen river? Is that what it is?
Yeah, usually I'm a lake kind of guy, pond, lake, marsh kind of guy. You know, moving water tends to be a little trickier, but yeah, it's been I try to pretend like I'm some like great outdoorsman, but the reality is I'm like just an average Joe kind of guy that maybe struggles to go out and about and enjoy the Alaskan outdoors. Sometimes it's hard to want to put on the layers and get out there, but I got a couple of good friends. You know, they keep me going, and so we got out there and cousin Miles, our cousin, him and I went and biked to a lake that was super fun, and there was no one there. It was just him and I and Jack, who's extremely concerned, my dog, about the ice and how slippery it was. But we got him out there. He did all right. And yeah, it's really fun to go ice skating. Like sometimes it freezes really nicely and it's really clear ice and you can see straight down and like see fish swimming around underneath you and see down 20, 30 feet until you run out of light or whatever. But it's been like an incredible ice skating season that's typically super short because oftentimes like it freezes and then it like snows shortly thereafter. So once the snow falls on top of the frozen lake, it covers up the ice and you can't really ice skate anymore. So it's a really short season. Sometimes it's literally just like 4 days, and this year it's been like 2 or 3 weeks so far, and it's not really forecasted to snow a bunch, but it is going to be snowing probably upper in the higher altitudes. But yeah, it's been really fun, and it's not like some grand thing. It's nice that you just go out for a hike, bring your skates on your shoulder, and sometimes you don't even need to hike. Sometimes it's just a lake right there in the city or in the town.
I love it. That one video, Miles is like fucking skating backwards, going like 50 miles an hour. He probably is doing like backflips and shit. And then like a video or two later, or maybe it's like the next day, I forget, but you're like just like showing like a panorama and you're like, yeah, I almost fell, Rob.
Yeah, I'm not
almost busted ass.
Dude, it is a struggle out there for your boy, dude. I'm not good like at any snow sports at all. Like I mean, you and I had the same childhood. We didn't do anything with snow or ice at all, and it's kind of a miracle that I even had the like wherewithal to be able to drive a dog sled. And even then, you know, a dog sled has a handlebar and a brake and another brake and another brake, right? So it's like, and I can step off of it. I'm not attached to it, right? You're attached to the ski. You're attached to the skate. You know, you can't get out of them once you put them on. So yeah, it's tough out there. Everybody's like really good or that I'm around, and I'm just, you know, happy to be out on the ice, just skating at my slow speed, keeping it nice and simple. That's fine by me. I don't need to play hockey. I don't think I
Nice.
got it.
Yeah, I don't think we're that coordinated, but
We are coordinated, dude. We're super athletic, dude, but we're not good at snow sports. We're just
yeah.
not like you throw a ball to Brendan, like no warning at all. You just 75-mile-an-hour ball straight to his face, like he's gonna catch that 100 out of 100 times. That's
Every time.
exactly what I'm gonna do too. So we're athletic, dude. We're athletic, bro. So
Yeah,
athletic, it's
but
kind of
like
crazy.
skis and snowboards
No,
and
terrible at that. No,
but
can't even cross
anyways,
country ski. Yeah.
So yeah, a reminder to those of you tuning in, and shout out to. It looks like there's some new folks that are following us and listening, so we appreciate the new folks that are listening. Shout out to you all. And if anyone isn't already, just a reminder to be following us. We're on Facebook and we're on Instagram. You can find us Mushing Alaska. We're also posting things on YouTube. And
You could see all these incredible faces that I make because I'm the maturity of a 3-year-old and I like doing things to the camera while Brennan's talking. So you're missing out on that if you're listening.
But then sometimes our guests, the last few interviews that we've done have been kind of cool to see. And so it can be nice to tune in there. And then we will also be having some upcoming content. There's just so much coming up between the different races. And, we're putting out a podcast every 2 weeks. Generally, we have a guest on for that. We kind of like that format. So, we want to talk about a lot of what's coming up, but we also want to talk to the mushers. So something's got to give. And essentially, tune into us, follow us on YouTube specifically, because we're probably just going to put some stuff on there and release it strictly on YouTube at some point, in addition to doing what we did with the Iditarod last year. So
it's all be announced on all the things, We're not going to just put it on
we'll
YouTube
like
and
be
not
on
tell you
top
about
of
it.
We'll have like proper, posts, and hopefully you'll see those, right? I think that's how it's supposed to work. But
This
anyways,
winter.
The other thing I wanted to do is just do 2 quick shout outs. One is to Felix from Switzerland. We were chatting over the socials this last few weeks, and just kind of crazy that we have someone listening in Switzerland. And I brought up this guy in the past. His name is Andrew, and he's from Wales. And he's just like super nice guy. He has 2 kids. And Sean, you'll appreciate this. I haven't told you this. So, we have these shirts that we made for Sean when he ran the Iditarod, and there are some leftovers. And Andrew hit us up. It was a nice message, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to send you and your kids a couple of these extra shirts. They're just kind of lying around here in my house. And so first time I go to the store to send it, the store doesn't even have an option to send it to Wales. Like the UK is not one of the areas that I can send it to. So I'm like, all right, strike one, whatever. So then this week, 2 or 3 days ago, I go to another place, and they're like, all right, yeah, we got you. You ready for the estimate that I was given on this, Sean? Just take a guess. I just want to hear what your first guess is.
I'm going $96.
$96. All right.
Yeah.
If I told you to guess higher, how high would you go for your next guess?
I'd go 187.
187. If I told you to go higher, where would you go with your next guess?
262.
All right, I could keep asking, or I could just say $300 is what I was quoted. So,
so it should be coming any day, Andrew. Expect it in the mail. We do have a lot of. Hold on, what's that? Just found a $300 bill flying around. So yeah, we sent it to you, my bro.
He understands. We're still going to try to send something. We're going to try to find something that has better rates. But in the meantime, I figured it would be nice to give him and his 2 younger children a little quick shout out. So with that being said, Sean, you and I were discussing, that like there's a lot coming up. We're in the thick of it. And I guess the first race in Alaska, at least, is December 5th, Ace Race.
Is it the 5th or is it the 9th? I believe. I'm going December 9th is my final
You're going
answer.
on the 9th? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because it is, let's see what day of the week that is. Yeah, Saturday, that checks out.
Checks out.
So yeah, December 9th, Ace Race. Dude, it's the thing about the Ace Race, it's just like the first race of the season. So everybody's all just freaking jacked up and excited. It's like the first event, But it's like, if it was like in the middle of the season, like no one would care because it's 63 miles. And, but the thing, what it represents in the timeline, it's like, well, a lot of teams haven't run 60 miles yet. Probably most of, I would say, venture to say like 80 to 90% of dog teams haven't run 60 miles in a row. And this could be the first time for most teams, right? So it's an exciting to get your dog, like it's a deadline for your team to be in shape enough to do that. And it's also a really good, to have the dogs experience that excitement that they get at a race. They're going to be surrounded by a bunch of other dog teams. They're going to be passing each other on the trail, and it's a super wide open trail. So it's like, you see a lot of like teams of dogs that have little experience in this race. And of course there's going to be teams that are, dynamite bulletproof, like total Navy SEALs out there. But there's going to be some teams that are like, oh, I've never been to a race before. And the dogs are like, where are we going right now? I don't know. And they hook up to go for a run. And they're like, I don't know if this is going to be a 5-mile run or a 63-mile run. I don't know, and they're just happy to be there. And there's going to be snowmobiles everywhere, people coming out and supporting, and a fun little, beer or two to be shared at the lodge, which is the finish line. And then everybody most people go to sleep and they wake up and they mush back to their truck, which is another 63 miles. So it's 125 miles in a couple days for most teams. And a lot of people will stay out there and continue training on those grounds because it's such good trail for early winter conditions. And so, yeah, that's coming up in like 5 or 6 weeks. And I think it's, everybody gets real excited. It's like the first one. Maybe it's not maybe I'm excited though, and I think somebody else is, right, Brendan? You could be excited, right?
Absolutely. 6 weeks out. Stokes starting to kind of climb the stairs, it's not too high, but the Stokes getting there,
Dude, I mean, like Stoke City, population 2. You know what I mean?
Hey.
Me and you, we're living there.
I mean, let's just be honest. So this is,
for
some of these, this next month is the last month that some of these teams won't have a race. So this is the last month where they don't have to worry about, logistics for traveling. And, some of these races may be close for the mushers, but then some of them have to like plan out where they're going and how they're getting there. And that in itself is a thing. I feel like we kind of each year we hear different kind of stories about like, maybe a musher misses the race that we're like, what happened? Well, like their truck broke down on the way to get there or whatever. So yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. We will break down the Ace Race more specifically later, but that is the first one. And it's November is the last, eventless month, you could say.
Yep.
And you're going to see a lot of people that are out on the Denali Highway where the Ace Race is happening during the month of November, because a lot of places, especially like Willow and where there's a lot of mushers that are in Willow, they'll be driving up to the highway because it's been colder and snowier up there than it is at Willow. And but up in Fairbanks and like in the Denali area, I've seen people out on sleds. It's still like early, and you can't be taking out like a 12 dog team, on a sled. And you can, but it's like kind of rowdy. So, but sleds are getting taken out of the sheds, and they're tuning them up and getting them out on the trail. But we talk about this in this episode. Deke says you need about a foot of hard packed snow just to be able to stop your team out on the trail. So, you can get out there with only a couple inches of hard packed snow and a 6-dog team. And if you're on a trail with a bunch of trees next to it, you can just kind of tie off to a tree and once you stop your team or something. But yeah, people are starting to transition from using ATVs, side by sides and wheeled vehicles and going now to sleds. And that's always just such a nice transition because, dude, the freaking ATV, I mean, I got to just say, fall training, it can be kind of a bummer. I mean, it's fun.
Let's talk about
that. You're sitting there like for a 35-mile run and it's like 17 degrees and you just like got to sit there. You can't like really move around much, right? You're like you're just kind of stuck in the sit position. I'm a tall guy, so I find it kind of a little uncomfortable. And maybe I'm just bitching and I'm just a little weenie and I'm being ridiculous. But the thing is, it's like all I know is that all mushers can agree that when you go from an ATV to the sled, it is an upgrade in experience. It's an upgrade in fun and pleasure. It's just silent and quiet. And all you can hear is the sled sliding on the snow and the dog's feet hitting the trail. When you have the hum of the engine, it gets a little old, is all I'm saying. So people are going to get excited to get on the sleds. And I think the dogs like it too. I think they can feel it's pretty similar for the dogs, but I think they know, if there's a sled back there versus an ATV, they definitely notice the difference.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, and especially I would imagine, I guess the dogs get used to it, but like the dogs that are closer to the ATVs, it's going to be louder for them. I don't know. Like, does it make a difference in terms of the different commands you're giving out? You have to be louder or whatever?
I guess you might have to be talking over the engine a little bit, but yeah, I really think for the dogs, like basically the whole setup in front of the ATV is identical to what it would be with a sled. So their experience is pretty much the same except for the sound. And then, you can do more with an ATV in the fall. Even let's say like people might still be on ATVs when there's enough snow to be on a sled, just because you can stop your team easier, and you can carry. You can set it. You don't have to set a hook. You just pull the parking brake. So people might go from an ATV instead of going to a sled. They'll actually go from an ATV to a snow machine or snowmobile because the sled, sure, they can run a team with it, but maybe there's just not quite enough snow for a safe sled run. So they'll use the snow machine. And some people like Mitch Seavey, who lives in Sterling, where there's like, that's really far south. And there's not there's not that great of winter conditions down there. And so they'll be spending pretty much most of their winter training on a snowmobile. And, you can an ATV can only get you so far once the snow falls, and then you can go to the snow machine, and that'll help you out when you have good amount of snow enough for a snow machine, but not enough for a sled. And you can take big, long dog teams with that.
Interesting. I don't know if I've seen too many videos with the snow machine and the dogs. It's usually just the ATV.
Yeah. And dude, and like, so this is a fun rabbit hole to go down, and I don't want to get too lost, but like, when you're like the side by side, they call it like a side by side because like two people can sit in it side by side. There's also like two wheels that are, I don't know, maybe I think that's what they call it, is because people can sit side by side on it. And then I think of it like an ATV is more as like the one that is like a one-seater.
Yeah.
And then you like vroom vroom with the thumb instead of with a pedal and a brake. Right. Yeah. So if it has like a pedal for your gas and your brake, I think it's a side by side. And if it has the brake and the pedal on the handlebar, then I think of it more like, I mean, technically a side by side is an ATV, but like, that we'll call like those an ATV for simplicity's sake. So the thumb, dude, you got to have a thumb of freaking steel, dude. Because you're
this
sitting
muscle
there,
right. Is it this muscle
dude,
right
that
here that you
muscle,
gotta
yeah,
right
right
there?
below
Ooh.
that big thumb muscle, dude. Because you're sitting there and you just got to give it like just a touch of gas, just like enough to where like because the dogs you can't just leave it in neutral. It's either you're gonna either A, shred your brakes because you're braking the whole time, or B, it's maybe you're going up a hill or it's a bumpy trail. You need to give them a little bit of gas so it can be as similar to what it would be like being on a sled and sliding down the trail. So you're just giving it like the slightest amount of gas. And so you don't want to press the thumb all the way down, but you got to press it a little bit. And you're doing this for like 4 hours straight, every day for weeks in a row. And it's like, yeah, your thumb is like,
you're like figuring
oh
out
my
like,
God,
how do I stretch this thing? Like,
yeah, gotta do thumb curls beforehand,
thumb curls. I love it. Nice. Well, the only other thing I was gonna bring up is I was gonna ask you if you have any intel or just any thoughts on November 30th is the cutoff for when the entry fee for the Iditarod goes up. You think we got any other signups pending?
Yeah, definitely think there's another sign up or three. I don't know how many sign. I don't know. I don't know how many. I mean, I really genuinely don't know. But if I'm a betting man, I'm saying, oh yeah, there's definitely. I would put money on there being some more names coming up before November 30th, and I've heard a whisper, a murmur, and so I do.
Give it
I
to
do
me.
expect.
Come on, let's go.
I mean, dude, I mean. We don't know for a fact that, is Mitch Seavey retired? We don't know.
What?
He never said he was.
Okay.
So, he's got some good dogs, but I would think if it's not him, somebody out of that kennel will be taking the team down the trail.
Yep. Okay.
And yeah, there's
Pete.
Has Pete signed up yet? I don't know.
No, he's not officially signed up.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone told me something about how Pete and Richie might be like kind of joining their kennels together. I don't know if temporarily
a little all-star
permanently. I'm not sure, but they both have like little kids, and it's that they're best buds. And I don't know the full situation, but those are like rumors that I don't want you to just take with a grain of salt. Yeah.
Hey, listen, we appreciate that you even provided that little bit of salt for us to like think about, So,
yeah,
we'll see what happens. I like that. I mean, maybe it's like a Barrington twins kind of situation,
this is something that I wasn't a part of because it was before Alaska and I met, but in 2000 and early 2000s and mid 2000s, there was like a Norwegian team of people and dogs. Robert Sorley, I believe, is a winner, and they basically took this dog team and traded mushers every year. I think it was between Sorley and somebody else, and forgive my lack of knowledge of that, but that team basically always was almost going to win every time they were in it. And so it's nice to have, I think it's a good way because it's just such an all consuming thing to try to put together a competitive team like every single year as like your musher and your team, so to be able to like, hey, I got a homie that's also a good musher. Well, I'll put all my marbles in, and my homie can help me out a little bit this winter, and then next winter he'll put all his efforts into this team, and I'll help him out a little bit, and it makes it so that you can have a little bit of a life sometimes, some years. You know what I mean?
I love it. I mean, dude, I know it firsthand. Like, I don't know how anyone with a kid does this. Like, the kids are time consuming, and so is training, and doing it at a high level and trying to win an Iditarod is just the ideas. But in my head, I'm just like, it's hard to fathom. So kudos to those who do it. And it makes sense, man. And they've been on a hell of a run. I remember we were talking about it. I don't have the notes in front of me, but it was like 10 or a dozen or something like that in a row.
Yeah. And that's just like I feel like that number doesn't hold as much weight as it should. I mean, to be able to let's just say like running like 4 Iditarods is like an insane like commitment of your life, So to run 12, it's because you have these people like Dede, John Rowe, and Martin Boozer and Jeff King who ran 30 freaking Iditarods or whatever. It makes it sound like 10 is like, well, that's whatever. Not 10 is like
just like
freaking a long time, man.
I mean, even just think about it from the standpoint of like, that I don't know how young they were when they first did their first Iditarod, but I'm going to say young 20s. So if they hit 10 to 15 years in a row of doing this, they're now creeping up to 40, and they've never really had like off time. I mean, to continuously be competitive, like, it's not like they're going on vacations and traveling and stuff.
But those two dudes are like, they're living out off the road system and like near Bethel. And, I think Pete lives in Bethel and maybe Richie lives in Antioch or something. And, they're living like, this isn't for some people like Iditarod, right? That's like, you're just training for the Iditarod and then you go and do your, other job that funds it. Some people are doctors and they go and they work enough just so that they can take their vacation days and go and run the Iditarod. Those guys are like living like the proper, Alaskan lifestyle of, going out and fishing in the summer. And I imagine they probably built their own house, and they, like Antioch, like is an insane location to live in. Like Bethel, at least Alaska Airlines flies there, but like Antioch, you got to like take a bush plane to get there, or you got to take a jet boat up the river or a snow machine in the winter. Like it's a pretty, like, that's their lifestyle. Like, it's not like once Iditarod ends, it's like relaxing time. It's like, no, they're constantly battling, or just like living that most authentic, what you think of as like an authentic Alaskan lifestyle. Whereas like I'm here in Anchorage, and people, I kind of frustrates me that I can't explain myself better, that when I tell people I live in Anchorage and they're in the lower 48 and I say, I live in Anchorage, they have the same reaction as if I told them that I lived in Antioch. And I'm like, just because it's Alaska doesn't mean that you're like a badass Alaskan. Like, you can live in Anchorage and you can be completely removed from the difficulties that living up here are, those difficulties. And then you can live somewhere like the Denali Highway or Antioch or Chicken or whatever. And those are a whole nother, like several levels of how remote that is and how difficult it is just to get your food on the table and get your cabin heated.
All right, here's me. I'm putting the reel in. I'm bringing you back up. All right, getting you out of the hole. Bam. All right, I got him. So that was Sean's. So that was Sean's little take on life in Alaska. And well, do you have anything that you want to, any other highlights that you want to mention in regards to our time with Deke?
Yeah, just a shout out to the Connect 200 having full field of 40 mushers in the 200. That's the first Iditarod qualifier race of the season, January 6th and 7th. They also have a 100. So we might not have like a super high amount of Iditarod teams this year. Maybe, at the most it'll be 40, but seeing that in the Connect 200, a lot of those people that are in that race, obviously some of them are training their teams to participate in the Iditarod, but most of them aren't. Most of them are people's handlers or people that just are starting their dog team or mid-junior mushers, right? So all these people, you hope that that's going to be shown, they're going to be yielding some fruit here in the next year or three. to have a bigger, a larger list of mushers participating in 1,000-mile events. But yeah, so Deke, it was dude, he's just so easy to talk to and super like, I'm really glad we did it. And it was just like a really nice, like, pleasant and easygoing conversation. And, I feel like I really appreciated it. I think Brennan talked like a lot on this one, and I was like excited about that. Deke and Brennan, they're closer in age. I just kind of was like super content to sit back and watch and listen to you guys talk. And but it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed our time with Deke. Like, I think part of why I talked to him a little bit more maybe than I am used to is because like while you were out of the country, I was like, well, I'm not going to wait for Sean to get back. Sean's usually like the person who contacts the mushers, and I like kind of do a lot of the other behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait for Sean to get back. We might as well just like line it up. So I'm like, we've talked about Deke in the past, and I'm kind of like, you know what, like I might as well just give him a try. So I'm glad it worked out, and it was good to have him on. We hope that you all enjoy this next interview. Well, yeah, nice to have you on, man. Thank you for joining. And you know, um, I have to just give you some props. Your website is full of information, man. And
dude, I don't even know why we're doing this podcast, because you have honestly all the information there. There's like no reason to talk to you. And
dekesdogs.com, like just forget listening to the rest.
I can take no credit. We have a huge fan of the sport. His name's Richard Bailey. He's from the UK, and I've never met him, but he was at the Iditarod last year, and he kind of cold texted me and says, "Hey, looks like your website's pretty bad. You want me to do it for you?" Like not really like that, but kind of like that. And he's like, "Yeah, check out Jason Mackey's. I'm doing his too." So I went and checked out Jason Mackey's. And I'm like, yeah, man. What do you need? Like, So I think he has a website, Design Business, and it's listed as one of the sponsors on that website. And he's just doing a bang up job with that website. It's really cool. I got to get back to him soon and give him some more information, actually. So anyway, but yeah, thanks a lot to Richard Bailey if he listens to this.
I was shout just out to reading Richard. the gear section before you showed up, and that's like, I was like, I'll just press gear, like it's gonna be kind of boring. I don't really, and then it was like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool. You can buy Deke some hand warmers and everything.
That was an idea I had like way back when. It didn't really take off too well, but I'm just gonna keep it on there. At least people can go see what I need to update and stuff, but at least people can go see like kind of the things we wear, because that's one of the common questions, like, what do you wear? It's like, that's what I wear. So
yeah, that's everything's there.
Nice. Yep. Well, yeah. So, just looking through your like story, I was kind of telling Sean that I enjoy just kind of seeing how you got to Alaska. That's something for me. Like, Sean is from Atlanta and made it to Alaska, and there's a fun story behind that. And so, I just, I like how you were inspired by your dog. Essentially, you got a dog and Nautique, and then it like the cliff notes is that essentially kind of led one thing to another to getting you to Alaska. So that's like a beautiful little story,
Yeah, it's a fun question to ask up here. It's like, so what's your Alaska story? Because everyone usually has one, unless they're born here, which is more rare than common. And yeah, so like I was in college and I loved wakeboarding, and just like when I was in college, I grew up on a lake in Iowa, and then went to Lake of the Ozarks a lot in Missouri as family vacation. And then when I moved to Colorado to go to college, I'd sit on the beach like with a $20 bill and like, hey, can you pull me on my wakeboard? and I'm like, I really wanted a ski nautique wakeboard boat. And my dad's like, "Dad's a boat's a money pit." Little did he know that dog named Natik. And like, I'm like, wow, and then read the directions. Like, this dog must be exercised for an hour every day. And I did every day, hour. Like, had the ski rope out the window, driving down the gravel road, exercising my dog Natik, because he'd run away. And yeah, that's what it, got it all started. And from him, I started reading, the Jack London books and all that stuff. And I've always had a real fascination with like the Klondike Gold Rush and the history of that. And luckily, I get a workout in that country in Chicken, Alaska, which is where the first gold rush happened in interior Alaska. So yeah, it's kind of full circle. So
and
yeah,
like,
that's how I got.
So like, did you not have a dog or pets growing up? Like, that was just your first animal, or like what? It just happened that it happened to be a husky, or
Well, yeah, I have a pretty cool story. Like, when I was, I don't know, 10 years old, 12 years old, whatever it was. I had a friend that lived on a pig farm, Iowa, hogs. And so we were like sleeping outside, like a sleepover on the trampoline. And I'd sneak off and go see this fresh litter of puppies that he had. And I'm like, spent the whole night with these puppies. And like, I went home and I'm like, Mom and Dad, can I get this dog? And they said no. So like, I knew how to manipulate them. So I went and cleaned up all my, you ever heard of like Ertl farm equipment, the little pigs and the cows? So I had that like stuff all over my bedroom floor, like, thousands of little pieces. And I went and picked up everything. And then I wrote a note and left $18 and change on the table and said, here's all my money. Like, let me get this dog. And next day we went back and got her and named her Rozzy after Rosenthal snow skis, because my family was big into skiing. And so yeah, like, I've always had a huge passion for dogs. Like, yeah, totally.
Okay.
And Rozzy became like one of the greatest dogs. I had my great grandma's kind of like boyfriend, like, so these 80-year-old folks, they were like neighbors, and every single day they'd come and pick up Rozzy. He actually even kept a car that was Rozzy's car, that he'd come and pick up Rozzy every single day after we went to school on the bus, and then take him, take Rozzy for a ride, pick up pop cans because they're 5 cents, and bring her back. So anyway, Rozzy was really special and kind of set the seed of like how much I love dogs and stuff. So yeah, Natik was just my first dog in college, and my independence. And I'm like, I'm taking this guy. We're going to run the Iditarod. Didn't work out quite that way, but yeah, he was definitely my inspiration to get to Alaska. So yeah,
nice.
Anyway.
Right on. And then so all right, like, the other thing that stands out to me is you have this like perfect situation of a job where you are working in Chicken, Alaska, which for me, again, being from Atlanta, Georgia, I was like, Chicken, Alaska, huh? And so like, what are you doing there? And I love that it's like seasonal. So summer, you're all taken care of. Winter, you're able to fully dedicate to your animals. I mean, like, that is your craft. I think that's just perfect situation,
Yeah. I used to actually be in law enforcement. So like, when I was still in college, my job was to be a cop. I carried a firearm and a taser and handcuffs, and I got to travel a lot of the national parks around the country, Acadia, the Everglades, Kenai Fjords, the Black Canyon in Colorado. And then my final kind of like tour of duty, whatever you want to call it, was in the Everglades. And I had just got done working for Mats Peterson in Sweden. Mats is a pretty well-known musher in the Iditarod. And he kind of held my feet to the fire. He's like, hey, here's your 45 dogs. Do 3 tours a day. Take care of them all. And when you have time, go train them. And so then I went into my Florida job, kind of like really hungry to get my own kennel. And I was there for 3 years, kind of got my status and stuff. And this job popped up. Well, it's like, hey, up to 6 months off in the winter, full-time job, full benefits, and then you get laid off without pay. I'm like, yep. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and apply for that one. And I was fortunate enough to get the job, and it's worked out really, really well. So yeah, it's been a great, and I love my job too. Yeah, we have the 40-mile country is actually part of the Yukon Quest 1,000-mile trail. So it's I've done that race too. So it's always kind of cool to be driving the highway where I once mushed a team of 12 dogs in my first 1,000-mile race. Like, yeah, I remember what I was thinking when I, crossed this bridge, went past that outhouse or whatever. So, yeah, it's really cool country. I'm really happy with that. So, yeah.
Nice.
When you did your, was it 2019 Yukon Quest?
Yep.
Was like, so that's your first 1,000-mile event. And that's kind of a unique, like, I think more often than not, Iditarod just got more mushers participating. Most people, that's their first 1,000, but to go and break through to that 1,000-mile journey on that kind of, super cold and slightly darker country in February, you got half the checkpoints and double the distances between resupplies. And, what was, what do you, when looking back on that event, like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I wanted to do the quest first because I've always thought I'd be I'm in head over heels in love with the quest. That's from Fairbanks. That's kind of what I kind of fell in love with. I knew I'd do the Iditarod someday, but I a month difference between the quest and the Iditarod, that's 3 hours of daylight. That is the difference, which means it's a lot colder. And I didn't really, I went into it pretty naive. But I really wanted to do the quest first because I thought it'd be important for me to have familiar faces along the trail. And in the quest, for 2/3 of that race, the handlers are driving the truck and seeing you at checkpoints, so on and so forth. So I thought all right, well, I'll do this race first, and then I'll at least see my friends and stuff, and they can keep me going, they can lift me up, they can So but yeah, yeah, I mean, I never a few things that stick out in that race is when I was on the Yukon River on that race, I never knew rivers went uphill. The whole river was uphill, I swear. Not really, but it sure felt like that. And I was having some major mind issues with that. And but yeah, I mean, my team's pretty much 100% different now than it was in 2019, with the exception of 3 or 4 dogs. And was really proud that I got that race done. And yeah, I mean, who knows if it's ever going to happen again too, and that was the second to last year that race existed. The last year was 2020. So, and that race also solidified my favorite city in the whole world is Dawson City, Canada. With, like I said, I love the Klondike Gold Rush, and man, to have a 36-hour mandatory layover in Dawson and be able to I don't know, be in the old gold mushing saloons, and Brent Sass came over and gave me a quick pep talk, and I'll never forget that. This is Brent Sass, and yeah, anyway, it was really memorable, and I'm just very, very thankful that I got to at least run it once, and I'll run it again every year if they have it again, that's for sure. So anyway, but
yeah, there's definitely some hope that it'll be back, and there seems like there's every race, not just that race, is gaining more traction this winter. Seeing you said that on Facebook the other day, that just so cool to see multiple events this winter with waitlisting, for people to participate, and then 26 teams plus in the Cusco, and the Knicks all got a bunch of teams, and I don't know, it's just super exciting.
Yeah, check out what the Knick was doing today. I'm not going to run that race this year, but I mean, 40 mushers signed up for the 200, and now they have I don't know if it's always like that. I don't think it is. And then there's 32 the 100, and it's
Damn.
Sweet.
Hell yeah, dude!
Wow,
that's a 14-dog race. So you think about 40 teams times 14 dogs. That's more dogs than they did around.
It's gonna be a party.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's I think the hangover from COVID is kind of over, it seems, and because it was pretty quiet on all these events, even just last winter, and it was definitely even quieter the winter before that, and so this is I'm just really excited that you're seeing a lot of younger mushers and names I don't know, and totally. I love to see that, and so that's just. I had some dark thoughts about what is the future of mushing in Alaska, and now it's now those are all erased. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it seems to be. I don't know if it's a niche for now, or if it's just mushers are up and coming, or like the niche right now is these 200-mile races. But hopefully, like all these folks that are running like the Connect, the Alpine Creek, whatever. I mean, I know all the Kuskokwim folks are like, I mean, that's like that Cusco race is like it's always the all-star race. It's like the all-star game. Like, that's why I'm not going. I'll get my butt kicked.
Yeah. Well, I was, just to place top 20 in this year's Cusco is like incredible. And there's 26 teams. It's like, that's going to be fun, man. And I remember the first time I met you is, I believe it was Galena, I want to say. And I was like, that run was, like the mileage on the Iditarod website was different than like the actual mileage by like 7 miles or something.
Yeah.
Which is like, I was going like 5.5 miles an hour. So it was like an hour and a half,
Yeah.
And I was just like in my head and I was like, yeah, dude, what the hell? Like, how could they not fix that? Like, is it ever that distance, And then I think I might've bitched about it just like 30 seconds too long. And then you're like, dude, you got to stop complaining about this, man. And I was like, yeah.
Really? Sorry.
No, I know it was like appreciated. I needed it, and it was like, cause how like you get your,
oh yeah,
the mind game of like getting down spiraling down to this like negativity that, whether my dogs were moving slow and the trail was kind of sucked and they didn't tell me it was going to be 7 miles longer or whatever. And so, yeah, that was like, I was like, I was kind of like hey, get your mind right. And then we ended up, talking and hanging out multiple times throughout the rest of that race. And
yeah, I remember like maybe you remember better than I do, but I'd like to get the story straight. But like, I remember like you giving an interview or something. And it was something like you were like looking through the keyhole of a door and could see like the light shining through the keyhole. Is that?
Oh, yeah, dude, I do remember.
When you're like having like mine episodes, I'm like, whoa,
yeah.
like he kind of shit going on with my mind versus Sean over there. Like he's looking through a keyhole and sees like, like what's going on with that? Like, what do you remember that? Like,
I would love to go back and see that. Maybe Brendan remembers watching that more than I remember saying it, but I just like the hallucinations were just so profound for me. And, I've done hallucinogens and it doesn't even compare to what I was seeing out in the trail, and, it was, I just remember something about like, you looking through a keyhole and then you just like go to the other side and you're in a whole new world or something. I don't know. But those that was like, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, this is Sean. I'm sure we can find it on YouTube. You have like this epic I don't know, like it's like a 9-minute. Sean is like sleep deprived out of his ass. All right. And Liz is doing her best interview, and Sean's just like taking it and running with it. You can tell it's like Sean's first human interaction in whatever 2 days, 3 days, or whatever. And yeah, he just gets lost. It's a classic. It's a classic Sean moment.
Well, I think in your rookie Iditarod, you were like, "Do you have any hallucinations?" I'm like, I thought I did, but I just heard Sean say what he was saying. Like, I don't got nothing going on with me. Like.
No, I remember like I saw like my girlfriend at the time, Kaylin, would just be like she'd just be like leaning against like a spruce tree, and I'd just like mush by her like, what the hell? And she wouldn't say anything, and I had like a full, like really well-written narration of what was going on with my race in my head by Morgan Freeman, like fully like volume 100, crystal clear, So I never handled sleep deprivation very well. And I'm always like amazed at, I got through it or whatever, but like, some of these guys that are out in the front in the Iditarod getting like the smallest amount. And like I was sleeping a bunch compared to them. Yeah, sure. They're getting the smallest amount of sleep and they're still like kind of pretty like together on the interview,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't solved it. Like, it seems like you get better at it with age. That's what it seems like, but Hunter and Eddie like didn't have any issues with it. So they're pretty young guys. So anyway, I don't know. I can't figure it out. So
So that was one question I wanted to ask was that is an issue for you? Is sleep deprivation or?
I mean, yeah, it's yeah.
And is it like are you kind of like tied in to avoid like any issue of potentially nodding off, or do you have stories where you fall off or what?
Oh no, I won't fall off, but I definitely have. I'm getting better at the 30 to 60-second naps. Yeah, especially like going to McGrath on the Iditarod, like that stretch is rough. And anyway, that's probably my hardest part is before the 24-hour like that mile 250 to 300. And I always stop in Ophir. I have good memories from Ophir. It's my kind of luck charm. So I'll always stop at Ophir. So yeah, and that's like 350. So like the last 100 miles to Ophir, it's like I'm starting to see the Grim Reaper a lot in like the corner of my hood. Like it's not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like yeah. Then I gotta take my hood off so I don't see it anymore. So anyway, but yeah, and then it was a really fun run with you, Sean. Your rookie at Iditarod. We were like, me and Riley, like we kind of ran a lot of the Yukon together. And we were like fans of yours because you had Jeff King's A team, and we were in the lotto. I remember this, and like I was in bed, and I was a little bit behind you guys, and Riley's like, "Man, you got the hot rod team out there. You gotta get out of here, man." And you're like, yeah. And then yeah. I mean, you got so unlucky with the whole, leaving Elam, and man, and then like I was watching you, I was watching Riley. That was insane because like that was the cutoff. Like you went through, Riley came back,
right?
And, you got a helicopter.
Dude, yeah. That run from Elam, I made it to White Mountain, and that run was like the most insane experience because we like got to like Little McKinley, and like it's like dead calm, like just creepy how calm it is. There's not like an ounce of wind, and then like you just kind of see like the sun starts to go down, the like wind starts to pick up, the snow starts to fall, and like the next thing you know, it's just like ripping. I don't even know how many miles an hour wind, and the dogs are like, I can't see the trail at all. The dogs just somehow know, because it's kind of hard packed, and I was just like, I don't know. I think that Tom Nolmeyer was in front of me, and he had like a 6-dog team or something, and was just cruising, and I was just like, but then like I saw them like 100 yards away, and then all of a sudden, that you don't see anybody anymore, and you're like, I hope they're fine. But yeah, making it to White Mountain, I was like, there's no way it could get like any worse than that run. That was the most insane thing I've ever experienced. And then sure enough again.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Anyway, it was, sorry for the bad luck. I'm glad you went back and finished it up. So yeah. Anyway, but
yeah, I definitely, am fantasizing about getting back out there, but I got to find I don't have my own dogs, and I'm not going to be getting that anytime soon. So we'll see if anything ever works out. What's that?
Yeah. I understand that. My rule is as long as it's better than it is worse, I'm doing the right thing. And so we're just going to keep on keeping on. So, having 30 dogs it's a lot of work. There's a lot of sacrifice to be made. So I understand. Yeah. Not having your own dogs. So anyway.
Yeah. It's all your money you make in the summer is probably mostly gone by the end of the winter.
Yep.
And the dogs.
Spending season in the winter and then the recovery season in the summer. It'd be nice if I had like save my money season and then spend it, but it's kind of like the other way around.
Okay. That's nice.
So,
so I wanted to ask you about your dogs. You had like your 2 dogs that you bought when you got to Alaska, Callie and Luna. And then you had the chance, like, how did that opportunity to inherit those, or not inherit, but like, it was just like right time, right place with those 13 that you got, or what's the story there?
It's pretty cool. So I worked for Mats and Kieran of Sweden, and then what I already said that. But then when I moved to Alaska, I gave it a year, and I got a dog from Toke named Callie, and then I got a puppy named Luna from this kennel in Two Rivers. And then Luna got to be about like 6 months. And then the guy that owned the kennel was like, hey, I have to leave the country and go home to Germany. Do you want to buy my kennel? Essentially, I'm like, yep, let's do it. And that kennel actually came from Kiruna, Sweden. So Luna, my first ever puppy, her mom was actually born after I was gone, and that's his kennel in Sweden. So all these dogs that I bought from this guy that actually was from Germany. He was from Germany, but then he moved to Kiruna, Sweden, got the dogs, and then he moved to Two Rivers, and that's where I took over his kennel. So all the dogs that I originally purchased were born and raised in Scandinavia. So I might have met them, like at some point on the trail when I was over there. So that was a pretty cool I don't know,
like full circle moment, small world.
Yeah, and then one of the dogs, his name's Toke. He's one of my breeding dogs, and so like I don't know if a lot of people have like a lot of Scandinavian dogs in them, but I have a line of my dogs that have like a Robert Sorley Roger Dahl line in them, and I think that's really cool because it's just maybe like a little bit different than most of the kennels in here in Alaska. So yeah, it all worked out. And then I also like I bought a dog from Jeff or Paul Gephardt. He like did me a huge favor, like an up and coming musher, gave me sold me his second best dog. And then I got another dog from Jesse Holmes and another dog from Dallas CV. And those are the last dogs I've bought. And that was 7 years ago. Wow. So never since then has been, grassroots. So
in-house. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
and is that the model that you intend on keeping, or is that just kind of, it's been able to work out that way, or what would you say?
I don't know. Like, I totally like have no problem with like buying or selling a dog. That's not at all. It's just, I would not be able to sell a dog that was born here. I'd miss it. Like, I do rehome dogs. I have a friend in Duluth, Minnesota, that has taken 4 of my dogs and getting his own kennel going. And I have a dog in Georgia, I have a dog in Indiana, but I don't buy or sell. I just can't do it. Like, so, but no problem with that at all. Just, yeah, it's just my style, I guess. So,
gotcha.
Right.
I need to ask you something.
No one wants to say hi.
Shout out to Nolan.
Hey, what's up, man?
Okay. He's shy.
Go ahead, Sean.
No, I was just gonna say, this year, dude, congrats on finishing in the money.
Yeah, that's a huge help in that recovery thing or spending thing, recovery thing.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, 20th place gets you a little over 10 grand, so that covers all your costs for the year. And
yeah.
Wait.
I'm just kidding.
I went home and bought a new.
No, but yeah, like talk about leaving Shack Tulik the first time.
The like this year or like in 2020?
Yeah, this year. This year, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I've done the Iditarod 3 times, and that run from Shack Tulik to Koyuk just always kicks my ass. Like I don't know what it is, but it always kicks my ass. And got a weather report, and it's like, oh, we're gonna have some 40-mile-an-hour winds. I'm like, that shouldn't be too bad. It was bad. So the problem was, like, I had a 12-dog team, and that's a pretty big team at that point in the race. And if I would have had like an 8-dog team, I probably would have been okay because I could see my leaders, but I couldn't see the front 2 or the front 4 of the dogs, and they were. You've probably seen it, Sean, but they were like not running on the trail. They were running off the trail because it was better snow.
Right.
And I'm like, I'd stop and I'd be like, I don't know, 10 yards off the trail. And I'm like, we can't do that in this kind of weather where we can't. It was a ground storm. And it wasn't, not even by far, the most horrible weather I've ever been in. Like I've been in much worse weather. But the fact was, I was on the ocean, and like, I'm from Iowa. And like, I live in Fairbanks. We're a long ways from the ocean, and I'm not real comfortable, like, not having some low, like, trees or whatever to make sure I'm going the right way. So I just basically got scared, And I'm like, we're gonna do a 180 at the cabin, the shelter cabin's 4 miles back that way, and see what daylight brings, and then wait for the Barringtons and stuff, and see if they get through in the morning. And as soon as they went by, I was up and following them through the storm. So, but yeah, it was just one of those like, darn it, like, damn it, like, again, Norton Sounds kicking my ass. So and then also when I was at the cabin, one of my dogs chewed my main line in half. So I'm like, wonderful.
They're
so,
not
like,
that tired then.
Yeah. So I was looking through the cabin, like I found a shoelace that I used. I found like, yeah, anything I could. So anyway, we got it figured out. So, but
yeah, that was you had to, like, your run times for the coast after that were pretty fast.
yeah. Yeah. After that, it was like, this is, that's when it, really, well, actually, like from Old Woman Cabin into Shack, like we were having the time of our life. That's the best team I've ever ran, and the fastest we ever gone. And yeah, that storm, I know everyone faced it and everyone had the same stories or whatever, but that just really, separated us from the pack. But I mean, I think we could have advanced a little bit more in the placement, but whatever. We're really happy with that run. Really proud of the dog. So
what's the like age group of that team? They're all going to be coming back for this year?
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're like right in the middle of our prime. And 12, 10, eight of the 8 4-year-olds, and then the rest will be, it'll be 8 4-year-olds of the 14 or 16, whatever I choose to run. And then we're going to have 7 2-year-olds. They turn 2 like in November. So we got a couple like outliers that are ready. They got good weight and stuff. The other ones still need to fill out a little bit more, but yeah, we'll have most of the core team back. So yeah, especially the leaders. So
yeah, it seems like you have a good, like you're not going to have like a year in the near future where you got to kind of wait for your dogs to get a certain age. Like you kind of just have a pretty like good balance of age groups in your team. And that's kind of like pretty remarkable when you have 30 dogs. Like that's not that big of a kennel. And so yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, try to like I mean, I think Ali Zirkle said it like,
did he cut out for you, Brennan?
Yeah. Just give it a reset for a second. Deke, if you can hear us, you cut out, just an FYI. You can try, if you can hear us, you can try to like leave this, exit, and then click the link and go back.
If the dog's not making.
Oh.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
No worries.
About that. But sometimes it goes out anyway. Sorry about that.
So we lost you right as you were talking. You were about to say something about what Ali Zirkle says.
Yeah. I don't know if she said it or someone said it. I think it was her, but she said if the dog's not making my race team, like the dog needs to go do something else with their time. And I kind of picked up on that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, like if the dog, I don't like dogs sitting on their chains. So of the 30 dogs I have, 27 of them are running in the race team. The other 3 live in the cabin and roam the yard. They're kind of my security devices. So yeah, we're just, I don't know, it just up front, like, okay, time to find a home for this dog or whatever. And it's worked out pretty good. I found some pretty good places for the dogs to go for like forever homes and stuff like that. So
yeah, Brennan can go and visit your Georgia dog sometime.
Yeah.
Name's Rand.
Where in Georgia? Do you know?
I'm not sure actually. I've never like looked into that close, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, his name is and he's like an 80, probably 75-pound dog, and yeah, it's my main leader's brother. So it's actually from Jet. But yeah. Anyway, but
which reminds me of a question, like what's 1 or 2 dogs? Not they don't have to be like your favorite dogs, but just dogs that have like a cool story. Maybe they came they had like a great moment where they went from oh, they're pretty good sled dog, and they'll make the Iditarod team. They're like, holy crap, this dog did great, or maybe anything like some cool story about a specific dog.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you a cool story about all of them, of course. You know that, but I'll just tell you, like, had this dog. His name's Husker, and he didn't run a race till he was 4 years old last year, and he ran the Yukon Quest 550, and he got dropped, and then he ran the Iditarod, and there's a really cool video out there somewhere of him finishing in the starting chute, and he sounds like a dolphin. He's just like, and Andy Pohl, which is Christy Barrington's husband, is like filming it, or someone is like, no, we want him to do that. Like, let him go, like, let him. So we call him the Dolphin. And I don't know, just a dog that didn't have a chance. He used to run sideways, like all of a sudden like something happened. And I believe like having cheerleaders in your team is huge. Like it's you don't want 14 cheerleaders, but you want like 1 or 2 or 3. And every single checkpoint when we're leaving, he's just doing that dolphin thing. And I think he was a big part of. I mean, mushing's so mental, right? Like not for the human, but it is for the human, but also for the dogs. And they get tired, they get burnt out, they get discouraged. And to have him like getting the team going every checkpoint, I don't even care if he pulled. Honestly, like I just want that chirping, So that was a kind of a pretty cool story of an underdog that made it. And then my other story would be like more of the obvious one. Her name's Jasmine. She led the entire Yukon Quest when she was 2 years old. Yeah, that's right. And she was like my everything, my soulmate. Like, I mean, when I die, bury me with Jasmine, bury me next to Jasmine type thing. And then last summer, she was free running around the yard, and I let her in the cabin, and I come in the cabin, there's like blood everywhere, like just everywhere. And she had stepped on something and tore an artery and a ligament, and that's it. She's now retired, but now she's going to be our main breeding female. So anyway, like kind of like told, I don't know, whatever the world said, like time for Jasmine to be retired. You got to figure out some new leaders. And now Jasmine's she's pregnant right now. She's doing 3 weeks. So we'll see what happens with that. But I was waiting to breed her because she's my main leader, and now she's going to do that. So she's totally fine as a yard dog and a pet dog, and she just she has that torn tendon, so she can't race anymore. But yeah,
damn,
we're
that's
happy she's
crazy.
So anyway, but
damn, those are some good stories. Yeah, sorry to hear about Jasmine. How old is she?
She's 7, so she's part of the
Right
Disney
on.
litter. Her 4 siblings are all going to be in the race pool next year, and they finished. Those other 4 siblings have finished everything. Quest, Iditarod, Cower Basin. So just no leaders.
Right.
Only one.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you'll have leaders by before too long.
Yeah.
So
the up and coming puppies that are going to turn 2 in December, they're extra special because we named them after the Fairbanks local bars. So that was more of like a marketing strategy, because we're gonna bring him to the bar, like, hey, this is Ivory Jack. Hey, this is like, would you like to sponsor this stuff? No, kind of kidding, but anyway, it was a cool name for a litter of dogs. Name them after some bars. So
yeah, you have some really good themes, man. The Big Ten, I like. That's a favorite. I appreciate that you're in the sports. I feel like I've seen this. Yeah. You go to a couple of events down in lower 48 here and there.
Big time, yeah. Oh yeah.
What are your teams? Your sports teams? Yeah.
The Twins, the Colts, and man, probably the Milwaukee Bucks. So
that's nice. That's good. You got some championships besides the Twins, I guess, with 1991, like we talked about, but the Colts and the Bucks.
But he into soccer too. Love watching soccer, especially. I mean, and I love watching women's soccer just as much as men's soccer, probably even more. It's really, really great. So yeah, huge fan of soccer. Yeah. But
and then we were talking about like dog care, and like it's just like you could talk about it, I'm sure, Deke, for literally every single waking moment of the rest of your life. But like, what is I'll pick a random category within dog care, and the one of the most important ones, which is dog feet. And like, what are you doing all winter long before race season? You know, you're probably using a lot of booties, but like, what is your preventative care? And then when you're out on the trail, you know, and maybe how does it change now that, does your dog care change at all once you're like doing these 100+ mile days during these 1,000-mile events? And like, some dogs' feet, like I've found in my experience that I've been a group of dogs that need very little care to their feet. They're just tough feet. And then other dogs that you're like constantly like working on. So what is your experience?
Yeah, you just said it exactly. That last sentence, like with anything, like it's all about knowing every single dog like through and through. I mean, like when I mean that's what it's all about. That's yeah. I mean, when the tail is a little bit up when they're running, like something's up. You know, like when it's not down, you just learn. It's like a batter's batting stance. Like every single batter, like all the good ones are good, but they all look different, right? So it's like, well, that's that normal gait, that's that normal whatever. But why? And now it's not normal because I've been looking at that dog's ass for 600 miles, and now that ass doesn't look the same as it was at mile 300. So it's like, what's going on? And then that's when we start to like, you know, figure out what's going on. You know, is it? And yeah, a lot of times a feet, a wrist, whatever. But yeah, this this season's been a good example about like feet. In the fall, like we run without booties as much as we can get away with to toughen up the feet. And it's nice not to have to trim fingernails or toenails for a few months. You know, the roads that kind of grind them perfectly, like they're perfectly manicured. But then too much becomes too much, and we got to start bootying because we're still running on gravel and dirt roads and stuff. But this year we've had snow on the ground for like 3 weeks now, and not only is it better for their feet, we also don't have to worry about like hydration as much anymore because there's snow to eat and dip in and cool off. So we've had a really good training season so far this fall because we got, you know, 8 inches, 10 inches of snow for their it's good for their feet. It's good for them to stay cool and to dip. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I think all mushers could talk all day long about what they do for dog care, and everyone's different and everyone's right. You know, like everyone does that's what's so cool about mushing. It's like, and that's why you got to like stick to what you know. Don't like start like, oh my gosh, you know, Jeff King's doing this, and you know, like whatever, this person's doing this, and like, no, just like stick to what you know, and then like, you know, go with your gut feeling. Because if you're running the Iditarod or, you know, anything, you've had enough experience and stuff with the dogs that you just pick up what you learned and stick with that. So, but yeah, knowing your dog is everything. So, and I'll just do a quick little plug here too, like while we're talking about it. So up to about dog care is like up to last season, I did everything by myself, like super anal about no one touching my dogs, none of my dogs. And then like I'm getting older and like I'm getting busier. You know, I have a 7-year-old son. You know, and I'm like, why don't I let people help me? so I found a guy named Jonah that I told you, Brendan, like you should talk to him too about what it's like to be a rookie and stuff. And he's my neighbor. And then my girlfriend is Nikki, and she's a veterinarian. Brendan, you should talk to her too, and the vets and whatever. Anyway, and then I have kind of like, we call him the dad, the old man. His name's Eric. And now I have this like human team of 4 people that they're like you know, we always refer to like, we don't have family in Alaska. We have our Alaskan family because we're all so far away from home. And this like these 3 people like my Alaskan family, and it's helped tremendously with dog care because it was just my set of eyes and my feelings and my thoughts. And now Nikki will go run a team, Jonah will go run a team, I'll go run a team, and we can like, you know, sit and have a beer and talk about like, what did you see? I didn't see that, you know. And it's really fun this time of year because what we're doing right now is, I mean, we're running over 30 miles. And that's just really, really soon for us because I mean, we're just like doing laps around the neighborhood because we kind of live in town these days, and probably pissing off the neighbors. But like Jonah will take a team of 12, right? And he'll go for 10 miles. And then he'll pull up in the yard and I'll hop on and do another 10 miles. And then Nikki will hop on and do another 10 miles. So like we don't have to take off harnesses or do anything. And then we all have everyone's opinion on like who they thought was good and who they thought was bad. And I usually do the last leg just so I can see like what they look like at their most like tiredness level and stuff. And it's so much fun to do it that way. And like Jonah, he's like a 24-year-old, like, you know, wants to like hammer down on everything. And I'm like more calm and collective, but he's awesome because he's like, yeah, I threw Ivory in lead and she crushed it. I'm like, what? Ivory can't even run very well, you know? Yeah, she went lead for like 30 miles, man. So it's really cool to have it, like pushiness and like trying stuff. And yeah, he's finding a bunch of lead dogs. And I guess what I'm getting at is like now that we have like 4 people all involved in my kennel, like the dog care has really, really increased, and the enjoyment factor has really, really increased a lot. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky to have that much help and support. And we have a really good time too. So the 4 of us are going to go to Chicken like 2 weeks from now and do our first like overnight camp out, and we'll either be on sleds or 4-wheelers or trucks or I don't know, but we're going to go hang out for the weekend and kind of off the grid. So yeah.
Nice. It sounds like you've got a nice little, like you've established a nice little squad, if you will. And you know, like that's one thing I noticed when we first started doing this and talking to other mushers. It's like, man, especially in the middle of the season, it's like, man, so-and-so is doing this completely on their own. Like all they want to do is like have someone to talk to. And like,
yeah, totally.
that's where this kind of like took off. And so I'm glad that you kind of, I mean, dude, you had to be spread so freaking thin. All buyers, you were so up until when you hired all these people that you just talked about, you were completely doing everything alone, or what?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. As far as anything to do with racing goes, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, any kind of training, and I love that. I was really proud of that, and I'm like, just give in, like, let some people, like you know, release the reins a little bit and like see what happens. And I mean, I met Nikki, my girlfriend, in Ophir on the 2020 Iditarod. She was a veterinarian in Ophir of all places, and it's like, okay, well, like there's 7 of us at 24 over there. You know, like she had the pick of any 7. She picked me. Like,
That's
we got to go back. Who were the other 6?
Well, they were all married, and
exactly. So yeah, that was kind of like a crazy one of those crazy mushy moments. So you know, you met your girlfriend of almost 4 years now in Ophir, Alaska. You know, like you had anyway. So happy she's here. So. It's nice. It's really awesome to date a vet too. It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I don't date that is huge.
So anyway,
I the things I hear. What couple things about what Deke said is, firstly, Ophir, if you don't know about checkpoints, is like one of the most bare bone checkpoints where they have a couple of structures, and you know, it's an old little gold mining area or something, and they put up some tents, and it's not like going to 24 in McGrath where they have like a lot more amenities, but it is a little bit quieter. And I guess that's why Deke likes it. And then doing those 3 10s for a 30-mile run, your dogs are going to be really good at blowing through checkpoints if you ever decide to run a Brent Sass schedule.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. There. Yeah. That's in the back of my mind.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, I've been really curious because a lot of like the footage that we're seeing right now from the mushers, everyone's either like on their 4x4s or side by sides. I don't know. I'm probably saying the wrong names because I'm not an Alaskan. But at what point do the sleds come out? When are you actually on sleds?
I soon.
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be a certain amount of snow on the ground, I guess. I don't know. Again, I'm asking for my myself who lives here in Atlanta, Georgia.
It's like a time versus effort thing. Like I can go right now with a sled, but it'd probably like take 6 dogs. And I got 30 that need running, right? So like I need to stay like up to speed. So we could probably go with 6 right now. And it's a really good question actually. And it's not about going, because you can go on bare ground, right? It's about stopping. And that's why you need the snowpack. So like, people always ask, like, there's snow on the ground, why are you on the 4-wheeler like that aren't in Alaska? It's because like we need about like a foot of packed trail. So when we have an issue with one of the dogs, we can put the snow hook in and it'll actually hold the team. Because just going's fine, but you have a tangle, you have like something happen, you got to be able to stop the whole team. Otherwise you're going to have a huge mess of dogs. So it's about stopping, not going. But I usually say like a foot of packed trail before I'm ready to take like a team of 10. If that makes sense. So
gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Right on. Yeah, no, it's never hard to get the dogs to go. It's always hard to get them to stop. And that's why you got a break, like the claw break, the drag mat, a snow hook, a second snow hook, maybe a third snow hook.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I always bring a giant long snub line early season, because if I can just get to that tree and tie me off, like I can like, relax for a hot minute and not have to worry about my my snow hooks holding. So anyway. Yeah.
All right, we're coming up on our time here, and we were trying to come up with like what is something that is either a book or show or movie or music that you've been into, you don't have to pick one, whatever, that you've been listening to or watching or whatever.
Well, like the all-time best dog mushing movie, as cheesy as it is, it's Iron Will.
Oh yeah.
Of the whistle, that's
and he's just like sending it off of the dude, he's like, I've never gotten air mushing, but I mean, maybe I have, but yeah, this guy's just like getting like 2 feet of air.
Yeah, if it was like that, we'd do like, like the heel clickers and, all the stuff that motor riders do. And, it'd be really fun to have that kind of contest. So anyway, but
that would be.
But yeah.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just, Sean was asking like music or, so I'm a huge Chris Ledoux fan, and yeah, you guys might not know who that is, but Chris Ledoux is an old cowboy that used to sell like cassettes out of the back of his truck at rodeos. And he's kind of like a hobo Jim of the rodeo world. And I love putting him on my like music when I'm mushing and changing all the horse words, dog words, like this old horse knows his way home. I'm like, this lead dog knows his way home.
Nice.
Sounds super corny. It keeps my mind occupied. So anyway. So yeah.
Well, when you're mushing, are you dogs? Are you listening to the dogs? Are you listening to music? What's your routine there?
I always like to bring a little Bluetooth stereo to throw somewhere in my sled. So I kind of have that like background music, but I can't wear the headphones because I want to be able to hear things going on. So but yeah, I'm always like usually almost always listening to some kind of music, and it's everything. Like, I mean, nothing beats like listening to some Chris Ledoux, like I said, and then like Miley Cyrus comes on like a wrecking ball, like coming into a checkpoint. It's like yeah.
It is pretty funny to be listening to like the most ridiculous, like something like Miley Cyrus or just like a podcast, and like if only like Miley knew what I'm doing right now. Like I'm like 3 miles from Ophir and 348 miles into the Iditarod, and she has no idea.
Yeah, I sent Eric Church like a video of us going down the Denali Highway last year to one of his songs. Like it's called "Hell of a View." And they actually responded to me, and they're like, "This is why we make music for folks like you." I'm like, "All right, I'll take that."
Wow, nice, Eric Church, cool,
nice, that's badass.
And then I invited him to come up for Iditarod because last year we had Kevin Sorbo on the tag sled. He played Hercules in like the '90s.
Yeah.
Like USA. So Kevin Sorbo drove my tag sled in 2022, and I mean it was. I hope he doesn't watch this, but it was kind of funny because after he was great, by the way, really nice guy. But after like the whole going through Anchorage, he crashed a few times and he kind of walked away like happy, but it was kind of limping. And I'm like, that's how badass our sport is when you can make Hercules limp away, you know?
Oh, that's good.
That's hilarious.
Stab him. So yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
All right. So I think I got two good wrap up questions. All right. I'm looking at your past races, right? And there's quite a few top 10s here. I'm curious what race of yours you're most proud of.
Yeah, last year's Iditarod, I won the humanitarian award. It'll be the greatest thing I probably ever won in my entire life. Like, I don't know what would ever be better than that. I'll try to win the Iditarod, but is that going to happen? Probably not. So, like, yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, hands down, it probably always will be. And my two dogs that I did drop didn't really need to be dropped. I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but I mean, yeah, they're two of my very, very best dogs. And yeah, just the fire that team had. I mean, I was second fastest from safety to no. I'm like, what? I'm not a fast musher. I'm a tough musher. I can deal with the elements, but I'm not fast. And that run went really well. So I'm really proud of my team last year. So
congrats on that, man. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. What about that second place Kobuk real quick though?
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's hit that.
That's inaccurate. I got to talk to Richard about that. My website guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was like, is that? I don't remember that.
I got in a Quest 300 once, but yeah, not the Kobuk. So
right
on. And then so, where's your head at as we get ready to enter into this upcoming season?
We're in it.
Like, what's your expectation? Do you have expectations? Do you have? I guess I say as you approach the races that are upcoming, like what are your expectations? What's on your mind as it relates to that?
I hope to repeat last year and like I said, I got these three other humans and my 7-year-old son Nolan that are all kind of part of the family, and we have so much fun, and we take really good care of our dogs, and we're running all the dogs, and yeah, we just have a blast. And Jonah, the 24-year-old that's getting into mushing, he's going to run all of his Iditarod qualifiers this year. And I guess kind of like what I'm looking most forward to, also in addition to the Iditarod, is him and I are doing the Two Rivers 200, like third week of February. It's like a local race, really good race. And he thinks he can beat me. So so we're gonna take the 26 dogs and we're gonna have a draft. So there's not gonna be any A team or B team, and we're gonna see what's up. I
love it.
Oh, dude, that is such a cool idea.
So I think I might need to shut him up a little bit. But maybe he's gonna shut me up. I don't know. If he does, like, he doesn't realize that if he beats me, like, cool, they're my dogs, man. Like, you know. So, but also he's putting his heart and soul into it. So, like, you know, I'm just super proud of what he's doing. But yeah, kind of looking forward to that. And just traveling with my dogs, my humans. Nikki's doing two races. She's doing Iditarod and Copper Basin as a veterinarian for everyone. And then Eric and Jonah are going to help out on the Iditarod with Dr. Liz Millman with getting people's return dogs back home. And that's cool because that gives them a ticket along the trail. So I'll like see them and say hi. That always helps, you know. And we're going to go up to Kotzebue after the Iditarod in April, and Jonah's going to run the Kobuk 440. And Nikki's going to be a vet for that, and I'm hoping to find a snow machine and can, you know, volunteer an Ambler or something. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to the whole season, the whole package, and try to keep getting faster and better and maintain good dog care, and have another good win.
Sounds like an awesome winner. I just want to say, when you do the draft, like, you should have your kid like behind a podium and be like, with the first pick of the 2024 Nautique Sky draft.
We'll do that. Yeah, he was I mean, right now, like, he's watching Monday Night Football because he got Brock Purdy and he's like down by 4 points, like, nice. in fantasy. So he's in a fantasy, so he loves the sports and stuff. So yeah, that's a good idea, Sean. We'll try to make that happen.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us, man. And I'll see you out there at some of these events, I'm sure. And that was really fun talking to you.